What is creativity? What a great question. Most of us agree that it's a good thing, regardless of how or even if we define it. Interestingly, most creativity experts would tell you that the definition of creativity is that which is novel and useful. I'll say more about that in a few minutes. For now, simply know that anything, an object or an idea, that is original and serves some purpose is by definition creative. Experts also approach the concept of creativity in a variety of ways, depending on their training, background, and interests. Business experts focus on innovation, what's new in terms of trying to solve their customers' problems. Psychologists more often focus on individuals' creative expression, regardless of whether that expression generates revenue. Historians tend to focus more on inventions, particularly those that change the course of a community or civilization. How you think about creativity also depends on what you're measuring, because measurement necessarily influences perception. For many, the first thing we think of when we hear the word creativity is a creative person. Often this will be someone who works in the arts, or maybe just that eccentric neighbor with the interesting yard art. But we can also think about creativity in terms of the what. So, is it a better mousetrap? Whether because it's more efficient or more humane or less expensive. And some researchers argue that creativity is about value to a given community, regardless of the geography or membership of that community. This means that something isn't really creative until other people say it's creative. Again, because it's novel and useful. That brings us back to the definition of novel and useful. If you only think of creativity as something for artists, musicians, writers, etc., then you've probably not given yourself enough credit. As psychologist Shelley Carson pointed out, if you've planted a garden, arranged the furniture in your living room or office, deviated from a recipe, driven a new route to the shopping mall, or figured out how to soothe a crying child, you've demonstrated your creativity. The point she's making, and it's an important one, is that creativity isn't just for some people. It isn't just something that a lucky group of individuals is born with, while the rest of us sit longingly on the sidelines, wishing we could be more creative. Rather, creativity is a set of skills. Really just skills that we can take advantage of with practice. Finally, one last point to consider about your own creativity. If you think of yourself as not the creative type, here's a quick challenge. Can you draw a doodle just circling your pen around and around? Can you draw an angle? Or a backward L? I'm guessing that you can. So try putting those three simple images together and see what takes flight. I'm guessing if you draw them 100 times, you'll still be tickled by your own creativity.